Welcome back, folks. It is Jafer, and if you're like me, when you started getting into mechanical keyboards, the first thing you kind of went to was drop.com, only because it's really popular, the item's readily available, and really having that hot swap feature back then wasn't really all that common as it is now going into 2021. However, if you did pick yourself up a drop Control, Alt, or even the Shift, the full-size board, more than likely you might have recognized that it's really loud, and really there's some improvements we can make on this board. So let's go ahead and dive in and check out some of the things that we can get to make this a much more premium board. Alright, so not only do you need your keyboard of choice, you're going to need your switches that you want to use. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Novel Key Box Jades. I'm not the biggest of clicky fan, but I absolutely love the tone and the feel of these clicky switches, and I want to reuse them, so we're going to throw them on the drop alt. This is going to be some stabilizer foam that I ordered from 3D Keeps, and I'll leave a link in the description below for everything that we are using today in the video. You also have some Everglide Panda gold plated stabilizers, and these are going to go on the plate themselves, as the drop is a plate mounted type. It does not mount on the PCB or anything like that. With your drop, you always get your standard USB-C cable, but we're going to go a little premium. This is from Lux Cables. This is going to be their own coiled cable, and I just love the accent of the gold on the all black. Now for tools, you're of course going to need either a manual or electronic screwdriver that's going to have a Phillips bit, as we're going to open up the drop today. And I do recommend having some premium precision needle nose tweezers, as there's 3 different variations of this. This is a great little kit I found on Amazon for $10. Last but not least, the most important thing is going to be by a company called Stupid Fish, and shout out to Stupid Bullets for actually recognizing this company. And so they make pre-cut foam for a variety of different keyboards out there. So we're going to end up popping all these inserts out and apply that to the keyboard. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now this part you might not necessarily need to do if you've already come prepared, but with these being brand new stabilizers, we are going to modify them, and that means we are going to clip the 2 feet at the bottom that would normally run right into that PCB, and then we're also going to lubricate them with some dielectric grease, as well as some Krytox 205 grade 0. So I've highlighted here where it is in magic marker or Sharpie where I'm going to actually cut. On these cherry style stabilizers, there's a little bit of a gradual step, and that's the part that hits that PCB. We want to remove that step, so there's only 2 legs, not 4. Alright, now that we're finished with the clipping, we're going to go ahead and apply a very thin coat of the 205 on the inside here. You only need a small amount. You don't need to overdo it. Less is more, as always. Now with stabilizers having that metal on plastic contact, we're going to go ahead and use the dielectric grease. Now you can get this on Amazon and your local hardware store, which I did. You're just going to apply a small amount at that 90-degree bend. Sometimes you can actually get this in a container where you can just dip the stabilizer in. I don't have that opportunity with this, but it's not really messy, so it's going to be a quick and easy process. Alright, now we're ready to build our stabilizer. Go ahead and put the stem through the housing. Where it's going to show 2 holes, that's where it's going to point, where your stabilizer bar is going to be. So make sure it's on that side, and then we're simply just going to take that stabilizer bar and put it in the lower hole, clip it in the housing, and you have yourself half of your stabilizer, go ahead and continue this process the rest of the way. Now the biggest thing that's going to be producing a lot of rattle is going to be the stock stabilizers that come with your drop boards. So we're going to go ahead and remove those, and they do come off fairly easily. There's a little tab at the top, and on both of them you're just going to push it in and take them right out. Now that we've got the old stabilizers out of the way, we're going to go ahead and open up this keyboard. Alright, and now once you've got all screws taken out, you're going to go ahead and pop it open. When it comes to the low profile, drop Alt or Control, you're going to have these magnetic metal strips. On the high profile one, that will not be something that you'll have. Just make sure that you do reapply these before you reinstall everything on the keyboard. But you see your light diffuser here, we're going to go ahead and pop that off. And just be careful. Don't do what I'm doing right now and apply too much pressure on that PCB. But in due time, this will pop right off out of its slots. And then you'll have full access to that PCB right here. So this next step though, I like to leave the top plate on as it helps me align the stabilizer foam that we're going to apply on the PCB. So you can either take it off if you already know what you're doing. If you're like me and you doubt yourself so much, then you can always put that top plate back on, just let it rest as we work out these foam inserts. And again, I got these from 3D Keys. I know that you can get them on other websites as well, but what this does is it basically cushions that stabilizer from hitting the PCB, and with that added thickness, it also allows it to kind of form a little bit tighter within the plate and the stabilizer itself. So once you take one, and I do recommend having tweezers for this process, we're just going to simply go ahead and insert it right where that stabilizer is going to rest. Doesn't need to be perfectly straight on, but you want to make sure that it's not going to be covering any holes, as we definitely don't want it interfering with any hardware or any switches. Alright, now that we have the stabilizer foam installed on the PCB, now we can move forward with installing the big guy here, and that's going to be the foam inserts. This will help dampen a lot of that pinging that you're used to hearing on the keyboard. Alright, now that we've completed taking out all of the excessive foam inserts on your foam insert, we're going to go ahead and install it where it needs to be for each the top and lower plate. And the individual pieces are pretty basic. You're definitely going to take notice of where they go. There's not really any way you can mess it up, as these are precision cut, so they're going to fit perfectly right within that plate. Once you've got both installed, go ahead and reinstall that light diffuser, and it might actually be a better idea to install the last bottom piece of foam after. And this will not have any negative impact on your RGB for that diffuser, as it only is strictly in the center of the keyboard, not on the outside where your LED lights are. And before you screw everything in, just make sure you flip it over just to make sure there's no odd pieces of foam that are coming through anything. And then you're going to go ahead and re-screw everything back in. Alright, now comes the fun part. As you can see, we have those foam pieces waiting to be stepped on, and we're going to go ahead and just simply insert them one at a time. The bar is going to be on the bottom. So you're going to slide it underneath the plate, and you'll notice just how much tighter it is compared to the standard stabilizers that were once part of this keyboard. Alright, and a common mistake that I did before, and I did it again, so I might as well show you folks how to avoid that, is you get excited, you wanting to put the keyboard back together and throw the stabilizers on. However, the way the foam cutout is done, It does block this to help on the acoustics of the spacebar, which is what you want. However, I have no way of getting that stabilizer in, so I do have to take the plate back off, reinstall this, and then just simply screw it all back together. Should only take 2 minutes if you end up doing it yourself. Right here, you can see where it's cut out for that stabilizer bar. And now that we've got everything in order on these new stabilizers, you can see there's a lot less wiggle compared to the stock ones. If you want to reduce that wiggle even more, you can even apply pieces of a band-aid to the edges here where the stabilizers rest on the plate to make it for an even more firm grasp on that plate. But let's go ahead and throw those box Jades switches on now. All right, folks, we're in the home stretch. I appreciate you guys hanging out. We do have one last thing we need to do, and that is install keycaps. With this being a drop product, I want to go ahead and keep it drop related since we also applied those stabilizers from drop. And now we're going to go ahead and throw on the GMK Red Samurai set. So let's go ahead and install that, and I'll give you guys a quick sound test. Alright folks, so hopefully these simple modifications to your favorite drop keyboard will improve your experience with it. And until drop kind of wakes up and realizes that the industry has changed, there's a lot better keyboards out there at a much lower cost. We're going to have to continue doing this, but luckily we do have some awesome companies out there that are making these upgrades possible. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, and of course everything will be listed in the description as well. And if you did like the video, please throw a like, and of course hit that subscription button if you want to see more content. Until next time, I'm Jafer, and you stay safe.